Welcome to the Germinate podcast, where agriculture, business, and innovation take root and thrive. I'm Joe Sampson, and with nearly 2 decades of experience in agricultural equipment and scaling businesses, I'm here to bring you actionable insights, inspiring stories, and strategic advice. Whether you're an industry veteran or just starting out, this podcast is your guide to cultivating ideas, expanding your knowledge, and growing your venture. So let's get started and germinate your path to success. All right, folks, welcome back to the Germinate podcast. I say it every week, and this is true as well, but this time I'm real excited about it. We've got a great guest, Glendon Coons with Norden Manufacturing. Glendon, it probably was 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago now, whenever we were in FEMA. And I was like, man, your story's awesome, and we need to have a podcast, and we need to talk about it. So welcome aboard, my friend. How are you?
Real well.
Good.
Florida was an excellent. I mean, it was nice and warm down there, and came back to Ohio here, and it's not as warm.
It's not as warm in Ohio,
and it's raining. Yeah. It's springtime. Love it.
Well, rain in the Midwest is always a good thing. It's helpful for the farmers these days.
You bet.
Yeah.
Well,
so anyway, tell everybody, I guess, a little bit about yourself first, and then your company as well. You are I want to say second generation, or is it third generation? I guess we'll get into it here in a second, but yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So I am second generation.
Second generation. Okay.
My dad started the company. In some ways, I like to say, though, that I am maybe a 1.5.
Sure. Right.
Because I was there from before the company started. And so I was the kid stacking hay on the wagon behind the baler. And the machine my dad invented is a Bale accumulator for handling the small square bales. And so the company really just started from that work, or from that need, I guess. And so I was the kid on the wagon for a number of years until the accumulator was brought to be. So I grew up as a farm kid. I'm the oldest of 7, and so good sized family here, and originally from Illinois, but we are in Ohio now.
Did you grow up on the farm in Illinois, or did you grow up on the farm in Ohio?
I was pretty young when we left
Okay.
Illinois, and so I grew up on the farm in Ohio.
In Ohio, okay. And Now, where in Ohio are you located, so everybody knows?
So we're east of Cleveland, small town of Mesopotamia, but our little town doesn't have a mail route, and so our mailing address is North Bloomfield, but the nearest town that shows up on your map is going to be Middlefield, Ohio. So it's east of Cleveland about an hour, and so up here in the corner, middle of nowhere, in the middle of everywhere.
Well, we had a nice little time in FEMA, and then it just so happens, I think like the week after or a couple of weeks after, I was going to be close to the area, and I was like, hey man, you mind if I swing by and take a look? So you made that happen, which I appreciate. And so I've been fortunate enough to come to Norden and see really just how impressed I was with it. I mean, I couldn't believe how much technology you guys have, super impressive machinery. You've really grown from, I'm guessing, just an idea in your dad's brain to what it is today. So that journey, I'm guessing, is quite interesting. So you said it, you alluded earlier, your dad kind of had this idea to invent stuff, right? And that's what got started.
Yeah. Well, we didn't even have a welder on the farm.
Okay.
Yeah. And so a friend of his that he makes equipment for lumber. He makes sawmills and stuff. Work with my dad, and they worked together on coming up with making this idea come to life, really. And so it is like most things, it's kind of an amalgamation of several other ideas.
Yeah.
But it was a new enough or different enough that Kenny was awarded a patent for the thing, and that's how the idea really got off the ground, I guess. It was is needed, right? So one of my dad's cousins wanted one, and a guy out here 20 miles from here, he wanted one. And so kind of made 5 of them just kind of locally here, and really poor quality and whatever. But just really not at a professional manufacturing place. It was just kind of cut it with the hand cut plasma and just kind of make it
work.
The pieces. Yeah, make it work.
Yeah.
And from there, there was a company in, I guess I'm getting into the history of the company.
Yeah, fire away, man. It's no big
right.
deal. I love it. I love it.
Okay.
All right. Interesting.
So there's a company in Plain City, Ohio that we knew otherwise, and they actually made a handful of accumulators for us. At the time we were buying grabbers. So the system is there's an accumulator behind the baler. It leaves a pack of bales in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
You pick those bales up with a grabber and put them on a wagon, and then you can then offload from the wagon into storage. So you're mechanizing the handling of small square bales.
Sure.
And so we were having the accumulators made for us, right? At the time, we're still farming. We're not really in business as such. And so they were making the accumulators for us. And a guy randomly walked into the factory one day, somebody they didn't know, and said, "Hey, I just moved into the state. I was in fabricating. I'd like to get back into it, and I'm looking for work. Is there anything you could give to me that you want to offload?" And they were like, "Well, we don't really have time to make these accumulators. Would you be interested?" And lo and behold, we find out that this guy had actually designed the grabber we were buying.
You're kidding me. Wow.
Yeah, seriously. So he has history with this.
Sure.
Like it's his design. He designed it. He made it.
Right. He did it
for this other guy.
And then he just ran out of time. I mean, he just ran out of time, capacity,
well,
or whatever it was.
I don't really understand he needed to move. I'm not sure really understand why he needed to move from where he was to Ohio, but
life happened or whatever.
Life happened, yeah. And he ended up in Southern Ohio.
I gotcha.
Wanted to continue fabricating, and so they made accumulators for us for a number of years. It would have been probably the company was founded as Coons Manufacturing in 2005. That's our last name, Coons, K-H-N-S. And we renamed in 2022 because it's too close to the Coon.
So is that right? Okay.
Yeah, so we renamed to Norden in 2022 because of that confusion. They didn't make us. They were very nice to us. They should have probably sued us, but
you just kept getting calls for tillage equipment and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and parts, and we even had their dealers calling us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so we decided that it was going to really hamstring us if we had a future in industry, especially in hay equipment manufacturing, because that is what Coon also does. Is they specialize in hay equipment.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And so we just decided to on our own just to move away from that.
Start over. And that was just in 2022 then, huh?
Yeah, so it's very recent for us.
So why Norden? What's the name Norden come from?
Okay, so Norden means north in German. We have an Amish background, and they speak a derivative of German, I guess.
So what language is that?
It's known as Pennsylvania Dutch.
Okay.
Pennsylvania Deutsch, which is what it should be, which is the German word for German, right? So Pennsylvania German. And so so we're paying homage to our history, I guess, with
your heritage.
Our heritage. And then along with, I guess the logo's on my shirt here. So
I see it, man. That's good.
There's a star in front of the word. And so the logo together represents North Star. The North Star is always north for everybody. no matter where you are in the world, even if you can't see it, 'cause you're in the south.
Yeah. Right.
But it is always north, right? And so it represents to us, it represents the idea that there is a truth that is bigger than us, and it is always true for everybody, regardless.
Yeah.
And so we're in pursuit of the truth. We're not the truth.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah. Anyway, so this company, getting back on track with the story, they were in Leesburg, Ohio. Or they are still, and they made the accumulators for us for quite a while. It would have been, I want to say they would have started making for us 2006 or 7, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in
Yeah,
there.
and until pretty much exclusively until 2016
Okay.
or
So
17, really.
10 plus years.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
you go.
yeah. And so they would make the accumulators for us, ship them here to North Bluefield or Middle Mespo, and we would assemble them and ship them from here.
Okay.
And so that's what we did for those years. So we would have grown our sales network then, would have grown our brand, just kind of been in business, I guess, for
Sure.
those years. And then in 2015, we bought a press brake
Okay.
and a CNC plasma table, because we had some ideas we wanted to try, and they were busy with their other work, this fabricating company. They just weren't getting us, the parts that we wanted to try, or the machines we wanted to try. And so we just like, well, we'll just buy these machines ourselves, and we'll just do this.
Just figure
And
out.
we'll
Figure out how to
figure
work.
it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And so that's how we got into it. So I made some prototype machines, and like, oh, well, this isn't that hard. We made one, we can make more.
Right. Right. It's funny how any job out there, if you have the right tool for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just changing the oil the other day in one of my cars, and I didn't have an oil, a filter wrench by my side. And so I was like, oh, I'll just use my hands. Well, that didn't work. I'll hammer a screwdriver in there. That worked, but it got oil all over. I mean, you get my point. It's like,
made a
if you have
mess.
the
Yeah.
right tool,
Yeah.
it's similar concept here. I didn't mean to interrupt your story, but yeah, I get what
No.
you're saying.
But it turns out we were quite precocious.
Sure. Yeah.
We had no idea what we were getting ourselves into.
Okay.
Like many people have said, in the past,
Right.
but it's true. We really didn't. And so it's all good. And so we, I don't know, that's how we got into fabricating, I guess. And so we're also still farming here, but
Yep.
we have some guys helping us with that. And so I haven't truly driven a tractor in years.
Okay. Yeah.
Even though I really enjoy it.
Right.
I have things to do at Norden now. So
right. You're now the vice president of the company, and you got to be you've got all sorts of responsibilities that go alongside with what it is to be the VP. It's a big job.
Yeah,
right?
It is. So, my title is VP, and sure, that's where I'm at, but really focused on developing new products is where I'm at in the company. So
I gotcha.
Yeah. So I'm not. So daily operational stuff is not really my thing.
Sure.
Although I know enough. I keep tabs on. I have to, but I'm not involved at a day-to-day basis. So.
But your dad is still the president, owner, CEO.
Correct.
His name is Kenny. You also have a sister involved in the business. I believe she's in sales and marketing. Is that accurate?
Well, she's in sales.
In sales,
she does help with marketing. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not her responsibility as such. We have a guy for that.
And then you have a brother that's involved on the engineering side.
I have two brothers.
Two brothers.
So there's a brother that works with me in engineering.
Okay.
And then I have another brother that is kind of financial management, financial operations manager.
He's the bean counter.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Good for him.
The one holding us all, keeping us all honest.
So your family is filled with all sorts of different talents. You have salespeople, finance people, operations people.
That's right.
So what about you and your bag? Let's rewind and get, I think the history of you and your family is very interesting. If you want to talk about it, I think I think it's great. So somewhere in the 2006 range, you start this company. But before that, your family you have 7 siblings, and your family is what? Are you, I don't want to get this wrong. Are you Amish? You're not Amish.
Well, it is confusing for those that are not
And
close to
I'm
what we were
sorry
at.
about
And
that.
it's
Yeah.
100% okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, my parents were Amish. I was born Amish. I went to first grade. I didn't know English.
What language did you speak in first grade?
Pennsylvania Dutch.
Pennsylvania Dutch.
Well, until I got to first grade.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and funnily enough, I can't even speak it. I can kind of understand it now, but
Oh,
I,
really?
yeah, I lost it.
It's not a normal part of day-to-day life.
No,
Okay.
no.
Got it.
We moved from Illinois. We moved the Amish community there. My parents would have left the Amish church at that point.
Okay.
When we left Illinois, or soon before, the third born, is a brother of mine.
Okay.
Was born with, I'm not sure what the actual term is, but it's similar to cerebral palsy.
Uh-huh.
And so he's been handicapped since he was born.
Sure.
Never walked, never talked, never, was really able to truly interact with people, with others.
Yeah.
So from Illinois, we moved to a care home. Well, my parents wanted to volunteer at a care home in Virginia. And the community there, very few of the people would have known Dutch.
Right.
And so, I just kind of got pulled out of it. And,
I gotcha.
It was never really surrounded by Dutch until years later.
Sure. Sure.
And there in Virginia for 2 years, almost. And then from there, we ended up in Ohio.
And how old are you when you were in Virginia at this point in time?
We'd moved out when I was, I guess, 7.
Oh, so you were just a little boy still. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was just a kid.
Yeah. Just a baby. Yeah. I got
And then then we moved in when I was almost 9.
Okay. Okay.
So to Ohio,
Yep.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I was still been 8 at the time. But anyway, so siblings are still being born. The family's still growing at that point.
Right.
So, some of them they were born in Ohio, and they don't know anything different really.
Right.
So, yeah. So my earliest memories would have been from Arthur, Illinois area, and then Faith Mission, which is the name of the place in Virginia.
I see.
And
so you were Amish back in the, early on, but then you left the Amish church when you go to Virginia.
Right. Yeah.
No,
I'm distracting myself. Yeah.
I gotcha. And so you come back to Pennsylvania at this point in time, and you're.
So when my parents left the Amish,
okay,
right?
Yep.
In Illinois,
yep,
they left and joined a church it's kind of a mix between Amish and Mennonite.
Okay.
So that they drive cars, their electricity, I mean, yeah, except for the dress is unique or more what they call plain.
Plain,
I don't
okay.
know what that means.
Yeah.
But of the same ilk and persuasion, I guess, as the Amish, at least philosophically and theologically.
Okay.
So of Anabaptist origin is really the term. And so we're still, I am still, and my parents are still.
Yeah.
Some of my siblings are no longer with the church that we go to, but I mean, it's okay. We don't shun them or anything.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Right.
But you still are. And it's obviously.
Yeah. So still, the term is technically is beachy.
Beachy.
But yeah, beachy Amish Mennonite. So
beachy Amish Mennonite. So like a beach, like in Florida, beachy. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Beachy Amish Mennonite. That's the term.
Yeah. So there's the man with the last name of Beachy that would have kind of started the movement, and we kind of inherited that.
I gotcha. Well, I know when you and I started kind of first, I've met you, I don't know, years and years ago, but for everybody listening, we had a great little connection in Florida at this last FEMA convention. Glendon and I were paired up in a couple of different things. Number one, we were paired up in I can't remember what it was called, Family Leadership Summit during a luncheon. And you gave a great little, I shouldn't say little, a great, I think we were there for about an hour, just talking about family businesses. And
To be fair, the other guys in the panel did too.
yeah,
The
there
people
was
on the panels too.
Kat is also going to be on the
Yeah.
podcast, and
Okay.
I'm gonna get Dalton on here as well.
Good.
But and then after that, you and I went and played a bags tournament, and you and I both looked at each other when we got paired up to play in a bags tournament, like, dude, we're in trouble. I've never played bags. You were like, I've never
We
played.
apologized to each other.
Yeah, we were like, I'm sorry, this is not gonna go well at all,
No.
you know. And it was a beautiful day in Florida. We're thinking, hey, let's enjoy the weather and it'll be fun. So we get up there, we play the first round. You and I get smoked.
Absolutely
We
smoked.
get destroyed
Killed.
by what we knew, come to find out later, was the best team out there.
Never lost a game all day.
Never lost a game all day. But so we get beat and we're like, well, okay, I told you I'm bad. And you were like, yeah. And then we go on this run, this epic run of, I don't know how many games we won in a row. We get to like the final four of this tournament. And, you know, when you have a bond like that with somebody, it's one of those things that lasts forever. And you and I talked a lot during that time as well.
We did.
Number one, I appreciate the bond. And number two, your story on not just your upbringing and your family business, but you're such a man of faith and you're convicted by it, meaning it's really hard sometimes to talk about your faith, especially when we're business people and we're trying to grow and drive sales and drive innovation. But you, especially during that summit, are a man of faith and deeply convicted by it. And I love that about you, man. It's rare in this day and age for sure.
Well, same back.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'm the same way. When I started this, I had no choice but to go directly to God and say, guide me, help me, lead me. And I'm going to be, you know, your sheep and you're my shepherd. So talk about that with you and where that comes from and why you're not so afraid to just let it out, man. I mean, it's got to come from somewhere. My guess it's coming from God.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess I'm a bit of a journey. I mean, always, I guess every Christian should be.
Sure.
You know, at no point, well, I hope I never get to the point where I will say I've got anything figured out, really.
No. Amen. Yeah. Amen.
And yeah, so I don't know. I guess from where I am spiritually is that there's a lot of, once you're in the Christian, if you're aware of how the Christian world is constructed nowadays, there's many thousands of different denominations and persuasions and
for
types
sure.
of and ways of, I guess, serving the same Lord.
Yeah.
You know, and so the question is always, how do you hold the truth that you have in a way that is humble and still bring others up? And not be arrogant about it. You know, that's one of the little lessons I had to learn when we, you know, we have 60 people here now, and there's, I don't know how many different denominations of people working here. You know, just
probably 30.
You
know, a lot.
Right.
I'm guessing. Yeah.
Well, half of them are Amish, so there's that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but
but I've noticed sometimes in others, I noticed that there's sometimes a spiritual arrogance.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I realized I could do that too. You know, I feel like I've got it figured out. Just ask me, I'll tell you.
Exactly. Yeah, I hear it.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I guess the thing that's different about the Anabaptists versus the Protestants versus the Catholics is a reliance on community. That is a bit different. And so the Amish would have this too, where you live life serving the Lord. You are personally responsible to the Lord for your actions, right? But you live in community with the people around you, kind of as a point of
Like pride or
No, where you're responsible. Or not,
responsibility. You're kind of helping each other. I mean, you're living to get I get what you're trying to say. You're in a community, and that's so true. You're right. It's different for
accountability.
yeah,
So
accountability.
you live in the community. We're accountable to each other,
I gotcha.
along with accountable to the Lord, for your actions,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
Because that's part of truly living in community is that you care for each other. You care about what the other person says, or their opinion on how they should live Christian life, how you
Yeah.
should live Christian life, how they, and
Yeah.
you live life together. And the way to do that is to live authentically, completely. And growing in love for Christ and each other,
Yeah.
right? Uh,
And are you
is
meaning each other in your community, or you're talking each other just your fellow man?
it includes fellow man,
Yep.
but specifically for sure, those within your own
Those within your
church
community.
or whatever.
Yeah.
The ones you're the closest to. So it's kind of an extension of family, I guess.
Yeah, it's a deeper bond and, like, I think all churches are trying to get maybe back to that here
Sure.
in recent
Yeah.
years because some
Yeah.
churches, for instance, the church I go to here in Des Moines, I'm not gonna say the name of it, but it's this giant church. When my wife and I started going there, it was probably, I don't know, 200-300 people, and now it's a lot more than that, thousands and thousands of people. It's a testament to that church because it is different. People saw that and started realizing how great this is, and when I grew up going to church, I was the guy that was bored in the pew and very traditional, and I was just I didn't get it.
Sure.
And I had moments, where I did, and then this kinda came about when my wife and I were just getting in fact, we were just boyfriend and girlfriend at the time, and now it's grown up, but now we're trying to get the church back to smaller communities just to kinda do exactly what you said. Be in community with one another, help each other, not just on Sundays, but on Monday through Saturday as well,
Absolutely.
you know? Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so one of the attitudes that we have about the truth,
Yeah,
about the word,
yeah.
meaning Jesus, the
Sure.
capital W, right? The word,
Yep, yep,
is that we own nothing. We don't have any exclusive claim to what the truth is.
yeah,
And so we want to be always curious, is who is Jesus, and
yeah.
finding Jesus in places where you'd never expect, and so that's always cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you think that challenges you to be the leader of a business today? And then, maybe someday you're gonna have even a different leadership role within that business.
I guess realizing, so yeah, living life in a way that is authentic, completely, in not having different buckets in which to
Yeah.
put things, like, oh, I'm a Christian on Sunday, and then on Monday I'm this mean boss.
Yeah, right, right.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah,
But Jesus in every moment of every day and everything. Um, and so that's
yeah,
being led, being open to the leading of the Spirit, really, and on a momentary basis. That's lifelong learning on how to do that.
yeah,
And so there's really not, so leading people is really about serving them, right? And so, um, where I am within the company is an opportunity, really, to bring good, or to be a representative of Jesus to people, um, in a way that is unique to my position, right? And
yeah.
so, that's hard because, I'm human and I
Yep.
don't do it right,
No, no,
and I am not Jesus, right?
no.
Right?
Wait a minute. What? No. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And
I get it.
so living life humbly, with being aware of that inability to do so perfectly, and yet doing what you can, to bring good into the world, to bring Jesus into the world, and to invite others to also to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that. And I think it's so true what you said about leadership, and true leaders are the ones that truly do serve others. And that doesn't mean that you can just let somebody walk all over you and
Absolutely not.
come to work 2 hours late or never show up. I think it's almost like the exact opposite. It's because you know that when someone thrives at a job, they thrive at life. It's almost it's not just the Christian way. It's scientifically proven. If you can thrive at a job, and that can be any job, that can be making your bed, for instance, starting and finishing and accomplishing something makes you feel better as a human being. And I think serving people, it really means loving them and loving them enough to help them be the best self that they can be. And to your point, not that we are the best examples of that, you and I, but we know who is.
But one of the best ways that that any of us really feel loved is when we're called to what is true.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that includes being honest with failure.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, calling people on the carpet sometimes if they need to, but doing so from the attitude of believing in them, and you're serving them by helping them be their best, being the way that God created them to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Doing so by serving them enough to believe in them. I love that, man. It's perfect. It's so true. So true.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I want,
Yeah, me
I want to
too.
be called up. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I mean, life is tough, and running a business is tough, and being in agriculture right now is tough.
It is.
We just talked about earlier on when before we started recording it, stuff happens. Well, I think you said something, you had something break, or I can't remember
No
exactly.
press brake. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we're needing to buy a press brake.
You
even
need
though
to
we
buy a
can't
press
afford
brake.
one.
Yeah, all of a sudden you
Yeah.
need a new press brake. You just talked
Yeah.
about the story of when you bought the first press brake, and now you need to buy you got to upgrade.
It'd
And
be a third one. Yeah.
yeah, it's a struggle. And
Yep.
if you're not centered enough in that struggle, boy, that's when chaos can happen. And that's the last thing you want to do as the leader of a business, is create chaos, right?
Sometimes you need to.
Yeah, well, true, but
Yeah. Yeah. It's all good.
It's all good.
I mean, as long as you don't create chaos and just walk away and let them deal with it, right? You
Yeah.
work with them through it, right? So, yeah.
Well, and I wanted to definitely touch on that stuff, and I know it might be kind of odd for a lot of people to hear, but Glenda and it's two guys from probably two different walks of life coming together and having that bond. I'm gonna forever appreciate that out of you, for one, man. And we're different people, but in the same sense, we're the same. So I appreciate that. But we
Absolutely.
talked about the history of Norden. Talk about what it is today. And I mean, I was super impressed when I came on the tour. You guys have,
Yeah.
it's very, very modern, tons of awesome equipment. You guys I think you take on jobs that not a lot of people want to take on. You just say, we'll figure it out, right?
Well, yeah. It's so, I don't know. We do have competition in that area as far as, people doing a good job building, building equipment, I guess. We're building stuff for other people. It's kind of a different realm though than what we have been in historically. So we're primarily an OEM, right? So it's our designs, it's our equipment. We design it, we market it, we sell it after making it.
Yeah.
And so it's built to our spec, and we have warranty on it. All that stuff. Custom manufacturing, although it uses the same equipment, is a different model. You build stuff to their spec.
Sure.
So they give you drawings, they give you their specifications, and you build it the way they want it done.
Yeah.
And so it even though it's the same workforce, it's a different business model.
Sure.
And so we are doing work for others, just as a point of diversification. So we're still primarily an OEM, right? And that's where our passion is. And so that there's we want to maintain that as a point of diversification, but then we're also diversifying away from the accumulator system, really. We added a hay rake a few years ago. one of the reasons why we wanted to rename the company is because so we could have that name and compete with us
Right,
with the
right.
same type of product that they have.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so under the Norden brand, we released the wheel rake. This year, we're putting a new spin on an old way of tedding hay. It's a real style tedder. We're excited about, and it seems to be getting good reception. It's a way of fluffing a windrow of alfalfa, really, and get air through it. It's more specialized equipment,
What's the point of getting air through it? Just to dry it out? And
Yeah.
I got
Sorry.
it.
So
Yeah.
The
Sorry, I'm the
you
ignorant one here. So yeah.
no, yeah. So you cut your hay and it needs to be dried so that it keeps in the barn, right? It keeps it during storage. If it has too much hay in it, it'll actually mold or even spontaneously combust.
Wow. Okay.
It gets hot,
Yeah.
right? It's like super hot.
It's like
And,
compost.
well, yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah.
It'll get there.
Yeah.
And so you let it dry out in the field as long as possible before, and then bale it before it rains for sure. And so that's always a trick, right?
Yeah.
And so fluffing the windrow lets air move through it and get the moisture out.
Just make the process faster. Speed it up. Yeah. Yep. Speed up the drying process.
Yep.
I got
it. If you have all the time in the world, you just cut it and just bale it right in the windrow. You don't even.
Yeah. Well,
don't even rake it.
Yeah, right. Who's got that kind of time?
It's fine.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But that's usually not the case. And so conditioning the hay in the windrow like this with the fluffers is great. And so we have, we're going to develop a few more options along those lines. There's some ideas on how to develop the bale handling more. But then we also got ourselves into utility attachments like skisser buckets and pallet forks and bale spears. And then some graders. We have a handful or different types of graders that we're doing for driveway maintenance or parking lot maintenance, that type of thing. So all stuff that is very needed on the farm.
But you also do, I think, some really interesting things. A lot of people have tried to get diversified over the course of the last couple of years because business was great during COVID, and then it just hit a wall. And then, I mean, you even mentioned this at FEMA. You said one of the biggest challenges you're dealing with right now, or this was about a month ago. I think things have changed positively for you, but you guys were dealing with cash flow issues. I mean, you were just flat out honest and saying, hey, the point of a business is to make money. The point of the business is to make money to pay their employees to continue to try to help make money. Right.
Yeah.
And you were struggling with that, and you were honest with everybody. And so you have to do what you can to make money, whether you farm out your equipment to paint parts for certain customers, which you're doing, or like you said, some custom manufacturing that you're doing, which I think is a decent size of your business now for, some pretty big names in the field. We won't name them unless you want to, you can.
Nah.
But big players in all walks of industry, and utilizing the equipment that you have to fully optimize it, just to kind of get you through some of the times. And it's impressive, man. That's super impressive.
Yeah.
Is that something that you guys stumble? I doubt you stumble across that. You strategically think that way.
Well, we had to. I mean, we were faced with opportunity. Actually, it came through FEMA. So
yeah.
Great,
Yeah.
The world's a big place, and there are a lot of people that could do the work. However, there's a layer of trust that comes from knowing who a person is and where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you understand that we are in the same industry as you, our world. You're dealing with farmers. You're dealing with this set of warranty issues or that set of expectations or these market conditions or
commodity prices, tariffs, all the things. Yeah.
You live in the same world, right?
Same world.
So it's the same community. And so your trust level is just higher for people that are in the same community as you, really. And so while our community does span the nation, as FEMA goes, our trust for each other is just intrinsically higher. And so we got that work simply because we are of the same community.
Yeah. And you start asking questions, and that's a huge plug for FEMA, by the way, Farm Equipment Manufacturers Association. And you and I are both deeply involved with FEMA. You're on
Yeah.
the board of directors, and I am too. And it's a huge plug, and to bring the whole community aspect back together too. You're right. It
Mhm.
is a community. It's like a family.
Yep.
We all kind of understand each other's issues. And when you're struggling, you go to your community first to help you out.
Absolutely.
And it worked in
It
your
did.
situation. And
And
yeah,
kudos to them. I mean, they forked us over the work, and it was we were absolutely indebted to them for that.
yeah,
So yeah, absolutely.
that's
And
awesome.
so yeah, it's um, FEMA is FEMA is a great organization because as farm equipment manufacturers, it's we're not special, but we are in a unique, especially short line manufacturers, I should say.
Yeah.
We're in a unique place in the world, and without the association, you're really just kind of alone in the world. You have to figure it out on your own,
Yeah.
and so it's a huge advantage to have other people like learn from their lessons,
Right.
learn from their mistakes, learn from their, and then you talk about what you did and they learn from you, and it's this you give and take, and you just everyone's better for it.
Yeah.
Everyone's just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, and I think genuinely, everybody wants everybody else to succeed. There's some competition in there as well, but the reality is there's room for competition, and
Oh, there is.
there's room for
Yeah,
good competitors, and I think everybody wants to help each other out in that organization. And
absolutely.
I always say this about you. I think I told you this when we were in Florida, but when we have a board meeting, and there's kind of a round table, and we talk about certain issues, and we won't get into what those issues are, but we're trying to figure out how to better the short line industry, the supply chain industry, all of that, and specifically in ag equipment. And Glendon's not a man of a lot of words, but although I feel like you are right now, which is great. But when you do talk, I think people stop what they're doing and listen, because you have these great visions and ideas for how to better FEMA, how to make it into the next generation. I kind of want to say, to help continue to grow and make this industry thrive. So I appreciate that when you voice your opinion, man. My only
Thank
device is voice it all the time at this point.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
It's better to be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt, right?
I love it. Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, I love it. Yeah, that's good. But yeah, now that'd be a good time to talk. I mean, you kind of gave FEMA a plug, but what is your kind of overall opinion of it, and plug those that aren't in it that should be in it.
oh, well, we heard it I don't know how many times, and it's absolutely true. You get out of it what you put into it,
Sure.
and so to other farm equipment manufacturers, be involved. Get into the trenches. There's councils and committees that are looking for your feedback, that need your input.
Yeah.
And while you're there, you'll also learn from others. That's so there's a convention in the spring and another one in the fall. And so 2 times a year, you
Yep.
have an opportunity to rub shoulders with people that are in your world. And there's more of us than you'd think.
Yeah.
Uh, and so there's so much that you can contribute to others through the organization, really. And so get involved and actually it's a sacrifice because you're busy.
Yeah.
Life is full,
Yep.
and this is another thing,
Yep.
right? But in the end, you're better for it. And it's just one of those things that you really, it's a real opportunity, and you should take it.
Yeah, and there's those things, you said it. The sense of community is when you have no one else to turn to, it's nice to be able to turn to some of those that are going through it with you. They're in the trenches. It's very rare when somebody goes in there and says, "Oh, our business is thriving and we're dominating the market." And they're the only ones saying that.
Right.
Normally we're all dominating together, or everybody's in the trenches together.
Yeah.
And so it's ideas that you guys have at Norden on how to kind of diversify manufacturing, do some, do some things that might be outside the norm that help you bring those ideas back to the group, and now others are doing that. And to your point, you can't even get business out of the deal too. I mean, you got some business out of FEMA as well. So it's not just fun and
Well, on the
games.
other side, and even more so, another whole aspect to this is that there's a different type of member. So there's three different types of members. So we have
Sure.
the regular members, which are us, the manufacturers, and then there's the distribution members or the dealers, the people that are looking for things to sell.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can meet distributors there and find people to work with that already know or that already have dealers set up, and you can sell your equipment through them. But then there's also the suppliers. The supplier members are really valuable, especially if you're starting up in business, because you find people that make gearboxes and belts and
Right.
paint and
Right.
they can do casting for you, or they can do
Yep.
but they're already aware of what it is to work, of what it's like to work with people that make farm equipment, and so they're part of that same community, and it's really there's a lot of things that don't need to be said
Yeah.
in your conversation with them, because they know where you're coming from,
Yeah. They get
they
it.
have the experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And you almost have, there's so many times when the conversation goes, oh, I've been looking for that.
Yep.
I've been looking for that widget for years. And
Didn't even know what to call it.
yeah, here you are. Here you are in the same room.
Yeah.
Heck, you're in the same town as me. What? You're a half a state away. I didn't even know it. So
Yeah.
that happens all the time in those, and not just FEMA. There's a lot of organizations, but FEMA is definitely one we're proud of. There's some other ones out there that I'll start touting here, on the podcast as well. But just joining that community, and being involved, it's a good lesson in life. Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in the game, and you never know. Maybe someday,
Way leads to way.
way.
And opportunities, it's just,
Yeah, I love it.
yeah, opportunities just come when you're moving. So,
Well, man, we're winding down here, but okay. So I had no idea that I didn't know much about. I'm learning more and more about you, but then I find out that you got this athletic side to you when you're tossing bags in the hole all the time. So you got to have some athletics in your background. Tell me about Glendon outside of work, and what do you do? Are you an athlete? You look like one.
I'm lazy. So yeah, when I was younger, play ball, basketball, whatever.
Okay.
Still golf occasionally,
Okay.
but no good at it.
Yeah. I joined the club. Me neither.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't consider myself an athlete anymore.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I would have won. It was a small school, but I won a bunch of ribbons at the track field, track meet or
Like
whatever.
what was your event? Like running, or were you like throwing disc and shot put, that kind of thing? Or?
Most of them.
Really? All of them?
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
But I was this is a long time ago, and it wasn't a real big school.
Yes.
But,
let's not think about the past too much.
Played football for years after that.
Yep.
And so.
What was your football position?
Lineman.
Lineman. Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I could tell you were an athlete, and I was like, oh, okay, I see. I see how this is going. You're telling me you're bad at bags, and then I think literally the first 2 games I didn't even hit the board, and you're dominating for us. So
yeah, well, you did too.
well, I got it.
You had your turn.
I got it at the end, man.
There were times I was leaning on you pretty hard.
So. Well, we ham and egged perfect with one another. So it was a pleasure, man. And like I said, I won't forget it. I'm happy to have you in my network, and I'm looking forward to seeing you down the road, seeing your successes for sure. I know you're going to be successful over there, and I'm really impressed. For those that haven't look Glendon up. I know you'll invite him over to Ohio and let him come visit for sure.
Anytime, come
It's
by.
it's a great tour. It's a great tour. So enjoy it. Tell everybody how to get in touch with you, how to get in touch with Norden.
Well, you can learn more about the company on our website, of course. But,
Of course.
NordenMFG.com.
Okay.
My email address is glendon@nordenmfg.com.
Yep. I'll put that in the show notes for everybody as well
bet.
to get in touch.
And call us anytime. Call us when you're on your way. We'll take you on tour.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah.
I can vouch for that. That's exactly what I did. So,
But yeah, we're always out here looking to learn. We want to meet people, and so we're here. So,
well, listen, man, I appreciate you doing this. Excited for your future, and thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Glendon Coons.
thank you.
Yep. See you, man. Hey, folks, thanks for tuning into the Germinate podcast. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with others in the industry. And join me next time as we continue to explore the innovations and strategies shaping the future of agriculture and business. Until then, keep growing, keep innovating, and keep germinating your success.